Hello. Yes, I hope you are hearing me. Yes. Today, we will talk about digital transformation in construction sector. Generally, this is a bit interesting topic, as you predict, because construction sector is different sector. There are different levels of digitalization in the construction sector. Some companies are using high-tech solutions. On the other hand, some companies using paper forms, and all of them are working in same environment. Because of that, this is a bit interesting and try to understand what's going on. And today I will talk from one of my article. Uh, this article is published in Data Driven Investor, and it's directly related to digital transformation in construction sector. And if you like, you can check it. Today, I want to talk about this article, and I want to share my ideas about the digitalization of the construction sector. Of course, I want your comments. Please do that. Your comments, your ideas, because it's important to transform the sector using different ideas, and we have to talk about them. Unfortunately, we are just talking about just BIM, yes, different tools. We are talking about Revit, other kind of things, BIM 360 or other products. But it's not about the products. Sorry. This is generally is about the workflow, how we should approach to technology usage in the construction sector, how we share our ideas, how we can coordinate project better. So I think it's more important about the people, more important about how we solve this problem as a construction sector. Just briefly, I want to introduce myself. I'm founder of both More Technology. Uh, I'm civil engineer. I work in construction sites. Then I started a technology company, and I work in different technology companies. So I have both two type experience. One is construction sector experience directly, and the other is technology development, software development experience. So I try to combine two of them to create value for my customers or to develop different solutions. Whatever. This is not a marketing pitch. So I want to go to my articles. Generally, yes, it's an interesting sector, as you know, because it's both different technology levels are together. For example, a contractor is using VR, different high-tech tools like laser scanning, other kinds of things on the construction side. On the other hand, some subcontractors using paper forms. This is really happening because when I go to the construction sites, I always see that kind of things. This create different silos of data, and at the same time, it creates. Unfortunately, it is preventing good coordination. So, because of that, big contractors or contractors using different high-tech tools saying that we couldn't get return of investment from our technology. I think it is about that, because if you don't use this technology in a value chain, unfortunately, it's not possible to create the value you expected. So, as you know, a chain is as strong as its weakest link. So we have to find our weakest link in a construction project, and we should increase its technology adoption. I think it's very important to create very concrete and solid project management in a construction site. I think one of the biggest problem in that point is like in the subcontractor selection, and of course the supplier selection in the construction projects. Unfortunately, we don't focus on the technology. We just force the companies to use some kind of technology which we are using. For example, if you are using Revit, you are saying that you have to use Revit in this project. It seems okay. Yes, you are trying to create an incentive for different partners in your project to use the same technology. Yes, it seems good, but unfortunately, it's not about the forcing the people, because if there's no culture using the technological solution in a company, it's not easy to adopt this company to use a tool. Just if they are trying to use that tool and give what you want, and they are saying that, "Oh, okay, we are using this tool and we are giving the 3D to our main contractor what they want." So they don't really understand the value of what they are doing. I think this is a big problem, because if they don't understand that, uh, they will affect your, of course, productivity, and unfortunately your technology start to be struggling. uh, because of that, technology versus workflow is so important. If we continue to talk about just technology and technology products, uh, it will be very very big problem for our project. So we start to talk about the workflows. If you force your ecosystem to use a specific technology, it will be a big problem. And a theoretical perfect solution, unfortunately, doesn't work effectively. So you have to focus on workflows between different partners, from design to construction to facility management. All these workflows, we have to create we have to use technology effectively, and we have to create smart solutions together before the project starting date. If you agree about the design flow, quality check, then it will be easier to integrate systems with each other's company's existing capabilities. Uh, for example, just we think about a hypothetical project, and in this project there is a subcontractor. They are very well talented. They are very good at their job, and but they don't use technologies effectively. They generally use paper forms in their uh, in their company. They create workflows like that. I think this is a big problem. But on the other hand, if you force them to use different tools, it's not a solution. What can we do? First of all, we have to show them what we are using and why we are using that kind of solutions. And then we try to find a basic integration with their paper-based forms with these workflows. It can be just OCR technology, and just we can scan their uh, paper forms and it create this data on the digital side. Maybe this is so simple technology, but it's important because we have to embrace all the people. We have to take them on board. So to do that, first we have to create our workflows. Then we will talk with our partners, subcontractors, designers, how they can add value to this workflow. And of course, they can change their technology stack, but we couldn't force them. They should understand what is going on. And I think this is another important thing. For example, design project workflows uh, and integrate technologies into workflow. This, for example, issue management workflow sample I want to show you. I hope you can see that. Then issue occurred and issue definition. We try to register an issue. This is a simple thing, isn't it? But we can make a good workflow for it, and we can share this workflow with everybody. It's open. An issue occurred. Then we define the issue. Of course, we can add photo and different data about this issue and creator's point of view, of course. Then we can classify the issue. I think this is very important, the classification of the issue. If we can create that kind of thing standard based, we can manage our issues better. So then issue evaluation. We should evaluate the issue, and do we need more info about it to make a decision? Or, okay, we can evaluate it and we have to find a design solution to solve this problem. Then we make an implementation, then of course review, and then result evaluation. Maybe there's a problem there. If there's a big problem, we can make a requirements refinement, and we can turn back to issue definition. And then everything is okay. We register this solution. We found the solution. So we register the issue and the solution. This is a simple workflow. You can use whatever technology you want to implement this workflow. This is so basic, of course. There are different kinds of workflows you can make, of course. But we should think about that. This is not a software, okay? This is a workflow. And each team member in a project should understand it. And for example, a subcontractor said, okay, I will use this. I understood. So if you are agree with this idea, then everything will be simple. This is a summary. Software, of course, is important. Technology may be more important than the software, but the most important thing is workflows, processes. Of course, the other thing is contract and coordination. In the construction sector, we always talk about contracts. Contracts are so important because they are binding things, and people working according to their contracts, especially between different subcontractors or main contractor, between owner. There are contracts, and these contracts are very important, and they are very detailed information there. But coordination always more important than contract, because a lot of problems simply can solve with coordination. But when I went a construction site, always I see a tension there between different parties. They always argue about the problems occurred on the construction site, and generally these problems are related to about coordination. If they can talk really open to each other, and if they have some data supporting their ideas, and then these ideas are that data is transparent, they can solve their problem just talking about the data. This data can be BIM, this data can be a registration, this data can be video. Then they can solve this problem very wisely because they are very clever people and they can solve their problems. But unfortunately, they always claim each other, and they are using the contract in that point, and they are forcing each other to do something, and they don't try to understand each other. This is not real coordination. So people are doing their coordination work generally. They're creating some rooms, for example, BIM rooms. They are putting a different type of screens there, and they say that this is the coordination room. I think the coordination is not about room. Coordination is generally is about the human relations talking. But of course, we should have a base. And in my opinion, this base is workflows. We should agree about it. Of course, standards are supporting this workflow idea. There are different standards we can use on construction site, but we have to think about more about the workflows and how we can manage them, and how we can share them, and then coordination will be easier. And then, of course, we can decrease number of claims in the contracts, and this is very important for construction project. And of course, we are coming to another point in that area is data, human, technology. I think this relation is so important again. Of course, technology is so important, but as I said, human relations is more. But in a point, humans are not, of course, easy creatures. You can't manage human easily, and you need some, of course, more concrete thing to anchor the people. I think this is the data. If you have a good data system, you have collecting data from the construction site, from the design, then it will be good point to start to talk about. For example, BIM, in my point of view, BIM is an important tool because of that. because people always talk about different problems, different design features. But when we put the beam, people are seeing the design, and they are start to talk about the same design, and it is a good starting point for a discussion. Because of that, beam as a data source is so important, but other data sources are so important too. For example, collecting visuals from the site, collecting different uh, registration from the site, data registration, digital forms, collecting information from them. They are so important. If you have a good data management system, we can combine all of this data and we can give good feedbacks to our team and all parties in the construction site, construction project. And in that time, we can easily solve our problems, because when there is an argument, we can directly can go to data and we can check it. And afterwards, this argument, in high probability, will be solved. So what we should have to do to digitize the sector? First, if you are in construction sector, you should complete digitalization. If you are using paper forms, Excel, separate data silos, discrete solutions, you should focus on proper digitalization. I think this is one of the critical things. And nobody should be behind, okay? Everybody should be in the same line. I think this is so important, because if you are a project, and as I said, different companies are working together, all these companies should complete digitalization. We shouldn't talk about, oh, okay, this company couldn't do that. It's not possible. This is not a high standard. This is a basic standard. Complete digitalization. Digitize everything in your workflows, in your daily works. If you do that, you can come to second step, data management. Yes, everybody is talking data, but it is very critical. I am talking too, because if we can collect this data from the construction project, we can implement different solutions. For example, we can use different business intelligence tools to understand this data. But to do that, if we turn back, we have to good workflows. If we design our workflows, and then we collect and complete this digitalization and collect data from the construction site about these workflows, then we can feed workflow with the data. And in that point, we start to see bottlenecks in our workflows. Why people are struggling about some tasks? Why we are waiting some problems on the construction site? We are losing time. This is very critical. And we try to start to ask questions, because we have data and we have workflow, and we start to see real problems. These problems will be very real, and we can measure them and we can evaluate them. I think this is very critical. Because of that, I think data management will be an important issue for us. Of course, this is not just about the construction site teams. We need the people from data science, from the software development side, to people who understand data, and more importantly, how they have to show us how we handle the data. I think this is very critical. Data pipelines and how we manage the data, how we will clear the data. These are so important. So data management is the second step we have to solve. And then it's come a point, data insights. Data insight, I don't talk about the business of the data science professionals. Data insight is just about the data management. You have to see what data is try to explain to you, okay? And we can say that this is a management tool, data management. And data, one of the best playgrounds for a manager, because if you are a manager, if you can play with the data, you start to understand things not a subjective way. Really, you can give some decisions in objective way. I think this is very important because in the construction sector, generally people are moving subjective decisions. They give these decisions with their experience. And of course, we are human beings and we are making mistakes. And data helps us to, of course, decrease the number of these mistakes. And on the other hand, you can say that I gave this decision using this data and I compare it with different situations and I give the decide. I did decide decision. I think this is good. But to do that, of course, you have some, of course, good tools like Power BI, Tableau. But on the other hand, you have to understand what is the data management, how can I manage data insights. In that point, from the individual development side, we have to learn different data management tools and how we can handle the data. This is I think it is about the personal improvement. People are trying to understand what is BIM, what is other concepts, but mainly in the foundation level, we should understand how we can manage the data and construction side, how we can use data, how we can take insights. I think this is very important, and people should focus on that kind of development, personal development, more, because nobody can manage your data, especially not the technical side, from the business side, behalf of you. Okay, you have to do that. You should understand how we can manage your data. You can't say just people give me a report about my data. This is not the way. You should play with it. I think this is very a critical thing. And then everybody talking about AI and machine learning, artificial intelligence. But to come to that point, first of all, you have to solve these three steps. Without solving the data, without solving the digitalization, okay, you can't talk about AI ML. Somebody can come and sell a product to you about AI. Yes, this AI or ML, but you can't use it, or it can be just a different solution lake for you. Okay, in a different world, not in the real world. If you want to change your business process, you have to. If you want to use technology effectively to create a return of investment, you should have a data. You should understand your data, and afterwards you can use different algorithms to make it more effective, more profitable. So, in my opinion, there's a fourth step you should follow. Maybe you can be different stages of this step. Maybe you completed it, but whatever. Each company in a construction project should be on the same page. So digitalization, as I said, is important. Then data management. Of course, in data management, data flow of design, data cleaning, data structure, data accessibility. These are more data technical things, okay? And data experts can solve these problems, but this step is important. Then we will go to data insight. This is more important with the, of course, business side of the data. So this is about if you are construction manager, project manager, you should be here, and you should take data insights. Of course, in that point, using interface, data analytics, dashboards, and BI is very important. And after that, if you have good data insights, you can go to AI. And main input of the AI machine learning is business questions. And these questions are coming from there. Because when you look the data inside, you start to think about your data and start ask questions. Why my excavators are idle so much? How I can decrease idle time of my excavators? You can start to ask that kind of questions. And you have data here. And then afterwards, these questions can be replied by different algorithms. And this, of course, there's a tech infrastructure in AI ML. but it is cheaper and accessible at the moment. All these technologies in this workflow are accessible, so it's not a big problem now at the moment for a project. And so afterwards, we design our decision support system to support the people on the construction site. And thank you very much. I plan to half our session. And please make comment. What do you think about this idea? Where are you? Which stage are you? If you have some questions, please ask us. You can call or just send an email or just make a comment. What more technology is trying to help construction sector? We are coming inside the construction sector. We know the technology side and the construction side of the problem. So we try to solve these problems. If you have time, we can talk details. Thank you very much for your time. As I said, I try to make that kind of short sessions, live sessions, to share with you some ideas about the construction sector. Of course, it's our ideas, but it's important your comments, and we can make it better together. I think construction sector needs that so much, because sometimes I think that we are talking not right things in the construction technology side. We are talking different technologies and solutions, but when I go to construction side, I saw that this is not the main problem. This is just some problems on the edge. We should find the central problem, main problem. I think this is more important about the culture. Of course, there is a skill shortage on the construction sector. We couldn't find right people there. This other important thing. But we can change it. But to do that, first of all, we have to define the problem together, openly. We should be transparent. We like the success stories. I know that. We like to show people 3D animations, but you know the statistics in the construction sector. Projects are late. There are a lot of budget overrun. So these are huge problems. And if you can't solve this, it will be very, very problematic. There's a question or a comment from a LinkedIn user. I think the problem is measurability of the potential outcome of the data management initiative. I think this is true. This is a good comment, because data management is a bit experimental. You try to play with the data, you start to play with the data, and you couldn't say that return of investment, this data work will be blah, blah. It's not easy, because at that you can say that you make a data project and you can solve that problem, because it is not easy thing. But you should look general idea. Data solves a lot of problem in the world, in different sectors, in automotive sector, in space industry. It solves operational problems. And from the construction point of view, we should look like that. People are solving their problems using this technology. Yes, construction sector is a bit different, but at the end we are a kind of manufacturing company. So we can use these technologies. We make an investment to these technologies to wait a return on investment. This is, I think, the logical thing. Of course, we have to create some case studies, how the data is playing role in the productivity side. So I want to conclude. If there's a comments, I will reply afterwards. I try to make that kind of talking half hour or 1 hour in a weekly basis. We have to discuss that kind of problems. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you like it. See you next week.